What's up, guys? Tambo here with your weekly core report. This last week was our biggest ever for our members, including 2 more millionaires. Let's get to the winners. NFL was our biggest cash cow last week, highlighted by some great calls across all of our content, including JT Hayes being all over the 49ers game script on Sunday. Subscribe to our YouTube page now so you don't miss calls like this.
A little bit like the San Francisco defense, 3,200. I think Todd Bowles is a terrible head coach. And I think they'll come in with a terrible game plan in this game. And I think they could get wiped. I think it means a lot of touches for Christian McCaffrey. So if you simply pivot from Henry to McCaffrey, that's a huge ownership discount.
In addition, our cores and player pools were littered with the highest scoring players on the slate. Our members were in sync with our content, and the leaderboards proved it. Peter Pan 14 kicked things off, hitting for 117K in NFL Showdown. J-Dub 115 hit for 7K. Sammy Davis Jr. hit for 10K. OG member Brittany turned $75 into 11K. J. Ree won 30K. CSP 246 shipped 40K. Craven or Vad used Mangones and my weekly construction advice to hit for 40K. And K. Phallic hit for 46K with a Russell Wilson lineup. We'll get to our biggest NFL winners in just a second, but first we need to shout out some big wins in our other sports. Our content continued to crush in the soccer streets, with NYG fan hitting for 10K. K. Phallic's hot streak continued in the World Cup, shipping for 27K. In NBA, Long Dick Dong hit for 7K, while in MMA, Sevens Vox shipped a monster 51K. At Run Pure Sports, we take pride in featuring content contributors who actually make a living playing DFS. We put our money behind our picks on every slate, unlike many of our competitors. There's nothing better than when our members benefit from our content, and this week was the best week yet, producing 2 DraftKings Millie Maker winners to follow up last week's Millie Maker success. Shout out to Deepwater, who shipped $1 million in the 44-44. And huge shout out as well to Gordon Jonathan. He shipped the $20 Millionaire Maker with a monster score of 272 DK points, blowing away the competition. Congrats again to all our members. If you want to be featured in the core report, drop your winning lineup in the Members Never Win channel in our premium Discord. If you're not a member, join now. You won't find a better value with all sports included for one low price. And while you're watching, hit that like button now. Remember, if you're not winning with us, you're watching us win. Until next time, let's keep running pure.
Everybody, happy Wednesday and welcome to the DFS First Look over here on Run Pure Sports. I'm Eric Crain, joined by AP, joined by Lox. Lox, I'm going to start with you, man. How we doing? I know you got a big week ahead. How you doing, brother?
We're doing good on this fine Wednesday. Just looking forward to a big week here. A little nervous, but heading down to New Orleans tomorrow morning. So just excited to go through another week with you guys and pick some winners again.
Yes, sir. Why don't you just shift that thing? I know you're there. Tambo's there. Is Big T there?
Yep.
All right, Big T. We got just like an 1, 2, 3 finish. People going. Yeah, that sounds good to me. That sounds like a fun times over here at Run Pure Sports. Speaking of fun times at Run Pure Sports, AP, you're always having fun. What's up, brother?
Yeah, always having fun. It's that time of year. Like my kids are down. Like all their buddies are down. They're sick. Fevers, 101. I'm just trying to it's like dominoes in our house, just like one after the other. I'm just hunkered up in my office trying to avoid all of them and. Try. That's why I don't leave my house too. I mean, you can't pick winners if you're leaving your house, and you just get sick, and you can't pick winners if you're sick. Right? So I mean, I'm just trying to avoid all of that, and I'm pumped. I think we got a good week this week. There's a lot of good spots that I see, and I'm feeling pretty good. Crain.
Yeah, no, it's good. And you mentioned the kids getting sick,
it's the worst.
My ex,
no,
ex-wife,
what? Yeah, it's the worst when the lady gets sick.
Like my ex-wife is sick, so then my kid's sick, so then he just comes up and coughs on my mouth the other. I'm like, well, here we go. Okay, I'm screwed now. And now I've got to go to some kids party where there's going to be 15 4-year-olds there. So I'm definitely getting sick there. There's just no way to avoid it. So yeah, not fun. I see Lox just nodding his head, just yep, I know that story. I know how that goes. It's not fun. I'll tell you what, yeah, all these winners are at Run Pure Sports Sprite Soda. And of course, if you're watching on this show, we appreciate you. Click that like button, click that subscribe button. It helps us out. And we're here to help you out. We're going to help you out by taking a look at the NFL slate. First look, it's Wednesday. I ain't going to lie. Probably haven't done a ton of research yet, but this is our first look, our initial thoughts on the slate, helping you build your lineups for Sunday. So let's go ahead and take a look at the quarterback position, because if you're looking up, you got Jalen Hurts, who has just been an absolute machine this season. 30 points, 37, 32, 25. Like, the dude just doesn't miss. And you know Philadelphia likes him because he just doesn't fuck up. And that's a good thing when you're a quarterback. You got AP's boy Mahomes there. You got Justin Fields, not a high team total, not a great spot. But when you do everything for a team, we're going to like your spots. And then you got my favorite spot, Mr. Justin Herbert. AP, I'm going to kick it off with you, man, because I know we like a lot of these names. I don't know how you don't click on the Justin Herbert if you're spending up against Tennessee.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I was on Trevor Lawrence last week. I think we all were. We talked about it on this show. I didn't get on Evan Ingram, though, unfortunately. I stacked him with his receivers pretty hard, but it's the same spot. It's the same spot that it has been for a while now against this Titans team that just can't. They can stop the run. They can't stop the pass. So, and Justin Herbert looks good. We haven't seen a ceiling type of game from him. It's coming, though. And, you know, hopefully the box score lurkers just kind of get off of him, because he hasn't shown the ceiling that like a Jalen Hurts has or some of these other quarterbacks. Hopefully that's something that suppresses ownership just a little bit. But with Mike Williams back, with Keenan Allen back, we're going to see Herbert throw like we're going to see like a 403 touchdown game from him at some point. Would not surprise me at all if it came here against the Titans. And then Gerald Everett, 8 targets last week in that same spot that Ingram was in, last week as well. So really, really nice ways to stack this game up. Now, Craig, the mistake I'm going to not make, I did it when Jalen Hurts was in this spot. I locked Derrick Henry in on the other side. There's something wrong, I think, with this offensive line. And, Henry was on his way to absolutely smashing last week, but couldn't get anything done in the second half. They looked terrible, but I'm going to have Henry as a run back in some of the builds. But I'm not going to auto lock him in. If they get Treylon Burks back too, he would be like my preferred run back, just because he looks good. The offense looks better with him out there. So I'm with you. I think Herbert is in a great spot. One of the other spots that I'm looking at as well is going back to Jalen Hurts, just because he continues to smash. The matchup's good. I do worry about a little bit about this game being competitive back and forth. I don't know if Chicago can keep it competitive. I don't know if it's a game where Philly just lets off in the fourth quarter too. So that's a concern there. But no, I think we have a lot of interesting spin up options on the slate. I'm really curious to see what you guys have to say about Mike White against the Lions. Yeah. And then what are you guys doing with Desmond Ridder, if you guys are going to that way at all?
I mean, personally, I'm not going to mess with Ridder. Like, right, I mean, he's fine and all, but Mike, if I'm spinning down, like Mike White is just so the obvious play at $5,400 and a great spot against the Lions. You mentioned Justin Herbert, like last 3 games, 51 attempts, 47 attempts, 47 attempts. And by the way, he gets a few yards on the ground too. I mean, I want anybody throwing the ball 50 times against the Titans. Locks, if you're spinning up, is it Herbert? Is it Hurts? What are you looking at?
Yeah, for me, just diving in right away this week, it's looking like it's going to be a Herbert week to me. I'm with you guys there. I think all 3 of us can agree he's just in a smash spot. That entire offense really is. In all honesty, I'll probably run it back with Henry. I think he gashes this Chargers defense. I understand the concern with the offensive line and stuff, but the guy's just too good and they just keep feeding him. So I don't mind throwing him in there. The other guy I would spend up for is Mahomes against Houston this week. Pair him with Kelsey and just run with it. Obviously, that's an expensive build, so you're going to have to find some value elsewhere. But up top, those are probably my 2 favorite plays. I do like Jalen Hurts, but I worry about the blowout too. I just think maybe they come out, just freaking light them up in the first half, and then it's kind of just lower stuff in the second half. We don't get as much from them. So I'd say Herbert and then Mahomes is probably my favorite 2 up top. I do like Mike White against Detroit. Their defense has looked a little bit better, but Kirk Cousins still threw for a bajillion yards with him. So I like Mike White with Wilson, and I actually like Elijah Moore too with him. And then Ritter, I probably won't be on this week. I'd like to see a little bit from him first before I get in there, but I'd say probably Herbert, Mahomes up top, and then Mike White is what it's looking like down below.
I just don't see anybody down here besides Mike White.
Yeah,
I mean, AP, talk me into somebody, man. Like Trevor Lawrence had the big week. I guess home quarterback against Dallas. They're going to be chasing. I get it with Trevor Lawrence. Dak, I don't know. I just can't click that button. I mean, if you're spinning down, it's Mike White or nobody.
Yeah, I think you're right, but I do have a little interest in Trevor Lawrence. Like, this offense is clicking. We've seen this Dallas team. They can look incredible, like absolutely incredible when they're playing good. The best defense, I think, in the NFL, but they get lazy, man. We saw last week. Like, it was such a smash spot. I feel like they just play down to their opponents at time. So I would like, and if Trevor Lawrence comes out, looks like he did last week, you could make the case for it. Be a very, very low owned contrarian stack, I think, but I'm definitely going to look that way at some stacks and tournaments, million maker type formats to have in play. So, but yeah, it gets thin really quick. Like, we're not playing Mac Jones. We're not playing Tom Brady. He's just not good anymore. We're not going to like Colt McCoy, or that game is going to be terrible to begin with. Like Trubisky, Sam Darnold game. We're not going. There's just so many spots that we can cross off. I like weeks like this that we can really narrow our focus, because it just seems like there's not a lot of guys that really can beat us. I mean, you can make the case. Like, here's the problem with the Chiefs, and I'm the local Chiefs homer. Me and DC. The problem is they get lazy too. They like, man, their defense. If Mahomes gets up by 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, their defense gets lazy, like super lazy. And we see these teams come back. We saw it with the Broncos last week. I'm not saying stack up Davis Mills and Nico Collins and Brandon Cooks, or maybe I am. Who knows? But if you look at it, 5K for. If Russ Wilson can do it with how bad he looks, I think anyone could. If the Chiefs go up, and they're going to go up, they just get lazy. So Crain, I am going to have some Millie Maker scripts of, if we get confirmation that it's like Davis Mill, they're not going to mess with Jeff Driscoll, right?
I don't know. I mean, who knows? Like, it's getting later in the season. These teams that are dead are going to start doing weird stuff.
Exactly. It's 5K. I said all season long, Nico Collins going to win someone $1 million. So going to.
You're right.
Maybe it's this week against the Chiefs. I like it, man. I'm telling you, this defense, they need to come out, and I mean, they're like, it's kind of pathetic. Like, I want to back them, and I think that they have all the talent in the world, obviously with Mahomes and on the defensive side too, to win a Super Bowl. But not if they're going to get lazy in these games. And that's what I'm seeing when they get up. And so I think we're going to see it again this week. So I don't think it's out of the question to get to that spot with the Texans.
I would just rather have, if you're going to do 150 in the Millie Maker, I'd just rather have 10 more Mike White teams or 10 more Justin Herbert teams. The chat is asking.
Haven't the Dolphins looked a little more decent on defense though? Like, we got to give them a little respect.
Yeah, they've looked a little decent. Yeah, that's. The chat wants to know about Andy Dalton against the Atlanta secondary. I'm not clicking that button. Locks, are you?
No, I'm not.
Yeah, I can't do that. And what's the best the best stack with Herbert? It's Mike Williams. It's Keenan Allen. Run it back on the other side with Mr. Derrick Henry. And, as AP was saying earlier, Treylon Burks. I hope he comes back, because I really like him in spots like this, especially when they're going to be trailing. I think you can play this without a run back, honestly, because look, the Chargers could win 31-10 and Herbert still goes for 4 touchdowns. Like, that is absolutely in play. So I think that is perfectly reasonable not to run it back. But if you did want to run it back, it's Burks, it's Henry, and move on. All right, let's talk about the running back position. We were talking about the Chargers, Austin Eckler. He's the most expensive guy at $8,500 on the slate. Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs. Boy, $8,000 for Josh Jacobs. Lux, he finally got there, man. I see you shaking your head. A hard no.
Yeah, that's a hard no for me. I just been off him all year. I played him a couple of weeks. I don't know. I don't like the guy. Now that he's 8,100, I'd much rather pay $8,000 for Derrick Henry this week. The Patriots defense isn't bad, so I don't think Jacobs gets there this week. I'd much rather play Henry. I do like actually pairing Eckler with Herbert to get a little different because the guy just catches all the passes. I mean, he's bound to catch 10 passes every game basically. So I don't mind that stack if you want to get a little bit different in GPPs, just because everybody goes straight to Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. Gerald Everett's also in play to answer that question for the guy in chat as well. So there's 4 guys you can pair Herbert with. As far as the other running backs, I mean, Kamara is kind of interesting to me. I think he's going to come in super low owned at $6,800 against a terrible Atlanta defense. I know we always worry about Taysom Hill, but I think this Kamara could easily just bust a slate wide open at any point, and this could be a game he could do it against Atlanta. So I got some interest there. Just looking at it right away, I'd say those are probably my 3 favorite guys up top, and I haven't really looked down below yet. So if you want to kick it over to AP.
Yeah, AP, I mean, let's stick on the high end for a second. Joe Mixon's a guy that, I mean, it's awfully tough to pay $7,200 for Mixon with what we saw from P. Ryan last week. Pollard's up there at $7,100, more expensive than Zeke. Okay, talk to me about Pollard. I know he's your boy.
Yeah, I mean, so just on the surface, I mean, first look, we talk about it every week, but this feels like a lot of variance at the running back position. Like, I feel like this is the position where, man, it's just going to be kind of the tilt, like the tough thing to figure out this week. Because, yeah, I want to like Pollard, but he's 7.1K. He's splitting with Zeke. I mean, they're giving Zeke the final touches there at the end. So, I mean, if we're paying 7.1, it's tough to trust. Like, Pollard does have a floor with this time split there. Josh Jacobs, 8-1. I don't necessarily love the spot, either. Derrick Henry, we've seen bust. We've seen when they are behind and they stop giving them the ball, or when teams just stuff the box with their offensive line issues. Gosh, Tennessee looks so terrible. So like we've seen a floor from him. Like, I don't feel that comfortable with Joe Mixon too. So like, I just think this sets up to be like a tough running back slate. It's going to be the position where I get a little bit different at. Now, I don't, this means like, it's like, look at the KC situation. It could be like, it could literally be like Ronald Jones. If they get up and things are comfortable and they just want to start protecting Pacheco, McKinnon, like, they could give Ronald, like, he's 4K. They could give him touches. I'm not saying he's going to be in any main teams or anything like that. I'm just saying in like Millie Maker, 150 formats, I'm definitely going to open it up and include a lot more backup running backs, on this slate. Like, look at the Detroit situation. Justin Jackson got in the box last week. How tilting. Many of us were on Swift. It's a 3-back committee now. Like, how do we even touch that spot? So I think running backs. Yeah, I think running back is really tough this week. I mean, even the Jets, Knight, Carter, there's a lot of options there. Philly, you have Kenneth Gainwell, Boston Scott, who are going to work into the mix. Like, I think Miles Sanders is good, but they can feed all of these guys, keep their guys healthy. So it does get difficult to navigate at this point in the season. And so I'm going to just, get a little comfortable with getting outside of the box this week, playing some of these cheap backup running backs, and just hoping that none of these guys go off and absolutely kill me.
Lox, are you going to try and embrace the variance at running back too?
Yeah, I probably will a little bit. Maybe not so much on my main team, but there's some guys down below that are actually interesting. I mean, Foreman against Pittsburgh is interesting. He still got upwards of 20 carries last week. Zonovan Knight's actually kind of looked interesting.
He's been the guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe some interest there against a terrible Lions defense to get different from the passing attack. There's just a lot of stuff down here that you can get to, but I don't know. I see myself spending up, to be honest, at running back this week, probably getting a little different at the wide receiver position.
All right, well, then let's talk about some wide receivers, because if you're spinning up, it's Devontae Adams, $9,000 against the Patriots team that it just is in shambles. You get Jamar Chase up there against Tampa, AJ Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, still under $8,000 is Amon-Ra after a very, very disappointing game. He was like 50% in my contest. It was wild. AP, I'll kick it off with you, man, because if you're spinning up, a lot of great options here. DeAndre Hopkins, I'm not messing with that Denver secondary for $7,700, but like, where are you going for spinning up?
Yeah, I mean, starting with a couple of things. So CeeDee Lamb, I like quite a bit here against the Jags. Jaguar, like, I think their game plan, if I'm them, is do kind of what they did to Henry there in the second half. Just stuff the box, limit Pollard, limit Zeke, and then Dak, force him to beat you. So actually, like, I kind of like some Dak Prescott to CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup stacks this week. So I know you won't like that, Crane, but I'll be getting on it. There's a lot of tough spots too at the receiver position. Like the matchup just for Detroit, really tough. And now we've seen so the Detroit much deeper now at the receiver position with Jameson Williams, Josh Reynolds got a lot of looks, DJ Shark in the mix. I don't think Amon-Ra St. Brown is as safe as he once was. And tough matchup here against the Jets. So I'm going to be off of them. And then, man, this is why I think, Herbert stacks are going to be popular and going to be a really good spot. Mike Williams, 6'3", Keenan Allen, 6'8", too cheap. Exactly. Very easy to stack it up. I even like Treylon Burks on the other side. But as far as like expensive receivers go, I like the bounce back spot for Devontae Adams, as far as like ceiling and target share, all of the above. I mean, he checks a lot of boxes. I like Jamar Chase too. I think he's safe. I actually think you could play some Burrow stacks here with Higgins or Chase, against Tampa Bay. I think the Bengals handle Tampa Bay pretty easily. I could see Burrow having another big game. Seems like we're starting to figure Burrow out, plays up for these, prime matchups. Tom Brady, prime matchup. I think players, they play up to play him. So Burrow firmly on my radar. And then Jamar Chase, just an absolute stud. So some interesting spin up options, but then some guys just I'm probably not going to touch.
Yeah, Lox, you said that I wanted to get a little different at wide receiver. And, you look at running back, there's not a lot of value yet. I mean, it's early in the week. Value always opens up. So, make sure you pay attention there. But if you want to get a little different at the wide receiver position, it seems like this 6K range is really interesting. Garrett Wilson, he's going to be a guy I just keep playing. I'm not chasing the Jerry Jeudy game, though. I don't know. Is Sutton out? No, he's questionable. Yeah, I hope Sutton plays because I do not want to be tempted to chase the Jerry Jeudy game. Devonta Smith has shown a little bit of firepower. Lox, what do you think about this kind of mid-range?
Yeah, that's what I've been looking at. And I think I'm going to start. I mean, most of my teams are going to be starting under 7K at wide receiver. I just think, like you guys said, Mike Williams and Keenan Allen are just, that's a disgrace for their price tag. So I don't know how you don't play those guys, especially if we like Herbert this week. It's just insane. And then you got Chris Olave at $6,500. You got Garrett Wilson at $6,000. You know what I mean? You just got all these guys down here. Is DJ Moore going to play? Do we know? Or is he pretty questionable still? To begin
he's considered day-to-day with a knee sprain. That was from Monday.
I mean, I could see a bounce back from him at $5,300. There's just too many wideouts in this 6K, 5K range that I like. And AP mentioned Treylon Burks as a run back to that other game. I love him too if he's back. So there's too much value here. Gallup's down there at $4,500. I do love the Dallas wide receiver calls, but Dak I probably won't get to just because they always seem to run a couple in every single game. So I don't see that ceiling game from him this year. So most of my time is going to be spent in this 4-6-5-4 range, to be honest with you, for wideouts.
One guy I want you to take a look at is Drake London, because when these young rookie quarterbacks come in, they tend to focus on one guy. They tend to focus on their best guy. Drake London's it. Like, maybe it's a little bit of Cordero Patterson, but to me, Drake London is going to be the guy that he's focusing on. And at $4,700, I think Drake could be in for a big boy game, and I can't imagine he gets a lot of ownership. So Drake London's one of those.
You can have him and Olave in there, him and Kamara. You know what I mean?
Yep. You can London, Olave. Yep, and it's nice because it stacks awfully cheap when you do that. I'm just going to play all the rookies. Garrett Wilson, I like. Man, oh man, we're getting to that time of the season where the rookies are figuring it out, and it's good times all around. Let's talk some tight ends. AP, I'm going to
real quick, as far as cheap wide receivers go.
Yes, sir.
The Texans ones. I mean, Brandon Cooks, Nico Collins, are they going to be back? Are they are expected back?
I think so.
Yeah,
as far as I know, I know Nico Collins, I think, is closer than Cooks from what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I
love Nico if he's in.
Yeah, I do too. They're going to have all the opportunity in the world. I mean, they're going to be playing they're probably. Some of these guys are fighting for jobs now, so the motivation's going to be there. Just, who knows what happens. So you need Mahomes to go up, and then all the opportunity is going to be there, like it was last week for Denver. So I think those guys are great plays.
See, this is a spot where I would love Brandon Cooks normally, and if he plays, how much is he going to play? Is he completely checked out on this season?
I
Like,
would take Nico Collins though over him. Like, give me
Okay.
Chris Moore, Nico Collins.
I would too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I fully admit, like, I might just be looking at 4,900 for Brandon Cooks, and the nostalgia takes over, and I want to play Brandon Cooks from 2 years ago, and I get, okay, this is great. We'll do well. And it's just like that guy, he didn't say that guy anymore. So
I think he's just done this year. I think he's toast.
Yeah.
yeah. All right. Tight ends. If you're spinning up, it's Travis Kelce. And guess what? He is the most expensive tight end. I think this is the highest I've ever seen. He's the most expensive tight end, and the second most expensive tight end is $3,100 cheaper. AP, is that the biggest spread you can remember seeing?
That is quite the spread. No, I mean, Kelce, phenomenal option here. I mean, this is where it's going to be tough with the Chiefs, and it always is tough with them, but I think it's what you do is, like, some of these Chiefs guys are going to get there. They just had 32 implied team total. One of these guys or two of these guys are going to get there. It's just figuring out who is always the problem with KC. But it would be hard, like, to see a scenario where Kelce goes 3 weeks in a row. I mean, arguably 4 without putting up a big number. 15 against the Rams, 8.6 against Cincy, 11 against Denver. I mean, and obviously Denver defense is tough. It could be a spot where Kelce gets there early, and you get your 20 or something like that, 22. But then in the second half, he doesn't do much. So as far as like a ceiling, 30, points from Kelce, man, I think it's a tough spot. So I might be looking to punt at the tight end position, or
Can't do anything other than punt. You either play Kelce or punt.
What about Gerald Everett? Same spot as Ingram as last week. I mean, in the set 4-3. 8 targets last week. I think he's fine. The one question I had for you guys, and maybe Craig, maybe you have a better read on it than me, but Darren Waller, if he's back, if that enters the equation at all, if 4-1, pretty cheap price tag for him.
Yeah,
and then
I mean, it's a really cheap price tag, and you look at Waller as a guy that we know he has the upside. Look, if he's active and we find out there's not a pitch count or anything, no limitations, then you have to have some interest. I mean, it's Darren freaking Waller. I know he was terrible early in the season. I know he got hurt, but it's still Darren Waller. Like, you have to have some interest there, I would think, right? Locks, would you have interest in Waller if he was active?
Yeah, I absolutely would. I mean, the only other guys they got to throw to are Mac Hollins, and then Renfro's not back, is he?
No.
Okay, he's showing up on here for some reason on one of my things. But yeah,
No,
I mean,
he's on IR.
If he's only got Hollins and Keelan Cole to throw to, why would you not play Darren Waller at $4,100? I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball. So I think they're going to be passing quite a bit in this game.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like, I don't mind Waller and Everett in that same range. And those are two guys that they could outscore Kelce. Is it likely? No, but they could outscore Kelce. And that's, I don't know, AP, I guess you don't need somebody to outscore Kelce when you're paying this much less for him, but it sure is nice to get that big boy score at tight end.
Yeah, I mean, but when he doesn't, and that you can use the savings that you're getting elsewhere, like at the receiver or running back position, which could be huge this week. It could be a spend up at RB type of week, just with the value that we're seeing at receiver. And if you factor in a guy like Kelce busting, or you get the guy, the cheap guy that goes off like Ingram last week, maybe it's Everett this week, then yeah, you don't need a Travis Kelce. And, it's much tougher for him to absolutely bust you. So I don't mind getting a little different, getting some of these value pieces at the tight end position. So it looks like a punt week for me at tight end. Like these mid-tier guys, if Dallas Goedert was back, I'm showing him popping up. I don't know if he's back or not. He's been out for a little while.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
it sounds like he might be coming back. Yeah, the Eagles designated Goddard for return from injured reserve. The transaction opens up a 21-day window where they can evaluate Goddard in practice. So I don't know. It's a 3-week window. We'll see if he comes back early.
That type of situation, he's got to practice. If he goes this week and is limited and then doesn't practice and is limited again, I would have concerns. But if he practices all week, even limited all week, but practices, I think I would include him in my player pool.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. Another guy that I'm probably will include in my player pool. We've been talking about this Chargers Tennessee game. Chicago, 6 targets last week, 6 catches and a touchdown. He was. I know the Run Pure Sports family was all over him in the Discord, and he got there for us. And that touchdown catch, did you see it, Locks? That was pretty, man. It was right up the middle, little pinwheel thing going on. Like, it was pretty. So
was
yeah,
nice.
I was a big fan of my boy Chig.
It was funny
week.
after our show last Wednesday. I put him in my core on Wednesday and left him in my core till Sunday.
Oh my god! How do you do a core that early? Oh my
I put one player in there. I put Chigo Kanku.
See, I don't do my core. I don't get done with my core. I don't even start it until after the morning wood. I got Chig, man. I get it, and hey, it worked out for you. 18 points. No Evan Ingram, but was Evan Ingram on either of your guys' radar at all?
I literally had him on 4 teams, I think, out of 150. So not really. He was in my pool.
That was that was just complete like oversight because I had a lot of Trevor Lawrence too. Just complete oversight.
And I know we talked about Trevor Lawrence on the show last week, but it was, I remember saying this. I said, if Zay Jones is your last guy in, that's fine, but he's not somebody I'm forcing in. And I love Christian Kirk, and Kirk somehow was the only one who didn't really get there.
I had a lot of Zay Jones with Christian Kirk in my team law stacks.
Yep. So
it was kept looking up.
Sounds
red
like
zone,
a profitable
another
day.
touchdown and Ingram. So I was like, oh man, come on.
Locks, any of these other tight ends interest you?
A couple, maybe. I mean, I think he's going to go off against Houston, but like AP said, I think it's going to be kind of a first half thing and then kind of slow down a little bit. So I think he gets you 20 to 25 this week. Another guy I like is Pat Freiermuth. I think he just continues to get targets. He scored last week. Continues to get the targets at $4,500. Why wouldn't you? He's right there with Schultz and Everett. I'd say I like Everett and Freiermuth probably the most in that range there. I don't mind Cole Kmet. We've seen what he can do with Justin Fields when he's feeling good. I know the Eagles defense is good, so maybe not a ton of interest there, but he'll be in my pool. Just looking down, really spending down. The only spend down guy I like at all is Okonkwo. I won't really spend down for anybody else. Hayden Hurst isn't back. I don't like Henry, no Foster Moreau. Well, Moreau, if Waller's out, I'll play Foster Moreau at $3,500 for sure. There's some interest there. Just a couple cheap guys that you can throw in there.
Yeah, I guess my main thing with Moreau at $3,500 is I'd just rather play Chig. I'd rather save the $400 than play Chig. I don't know. AP, did we miss anybody for you?
No, I mean it's like if I can't get the security that Kelsey gives you at that position, I'm probably going to end up punting. It's really just going to depend. Like I don't like for me, like if I think it's a spot where Kelsey could go absolutely off and I have to prioritize him at the position, I will. I just don't see that being the case this week. So I'm probably going to punt. I do like Gerald Everett in my Herbert stacks. Could be chasing kind of the script against Tennessee though, which is a concern. So no, it's really just going to depend. But my takeaway right now is if I come up with like a random tight end and it fits the bill and I know he's getting some targets, I'll probably be fine playing him.
How about Dalton Schultz for your Dex stacks?
Yeah, I could definitely go. I could definitely go there. 4.4K. I think he's fine. The targets are there. 10 last week against Houston. I mean, man, if Houston can do anything like they did last week against Dallas.
Oh my God.
I mean, I'm telling you, Davis Mills season, baby. Maybe I'm going Davis Mills to Jordan Akins.
You are not playing Davis Mills.
Well, no, I got a free roll because I won that bet with Tambo. It was my boy Jack Stoll dominated his boy Jordan Akins last week. I think Jack Stoll had 4 DK points. I think Jordan Akins had 1.5. So I'm going to book that win.
That's like me victory lapping Isaiah Pacheco when he scored the touchdown and I got $100.
Oh, it's worse than that. It's worse than that.
That's definitely worse.
Definitely
worse.
Oh man, that's great. Guys, if you're enjoying the show, click that like button, click that subscribe button. It's the big red button on the bottom right corner. We got to talk about what's going on over at Run Pure Sports right now because we had not one, But two Millie Maker winners on the weekend. Can you believe it? Deepwater and Gordon Jonathan, both shipping the Millie, both Run Pure members. So congrats to those guys. And shipping that Millie, that's a fun feeling, man. Congratulations. We got a lot of stuff going on in a lot of different sports. For NBA, we've got Spreads NBA Rundown. We're talking TV shows, the NBA Hardwood, which I'm on there, I believe, coming up this Saturday. And of course, the final countdown leading you into NBA Lock. And then, of course, we've got the World Cup. We got 3 games still. We got our next game starting in about 2.5 hours. And the World Cup content team, Jaime and Rubio, have just been absolutely destroying it. So if you want to check out the World Cup, like, I'm not going to say it's free money because it ain't that simple, but it's pretty damn close because those guys have just been, I mean, it's been beautiful. My boys from Argentina got it done yesterday. Love betting the World Cup. Soccer's fun to bet on. I know people give soccer some shit and they don't like it. It's boring. It's, there's no goal. Blah, blah. Soccer's a blast to gamble on. So check that out. Check out Jaime and Rubio over on Run Pure Sports because they have just been, it's been an absolute print fest. Every single day you see a dude cashing for 10K, for 20K. It's a blast. And of course we got premium going on over at Run Pure Sports. You get the core plays for NBA, for football, for soccer, for hockey. We got all kinds of stuff going on, like every single sport you could imagine. We've got core plays, the playbooks. I mean, the playbooks are very simply a breakdown of every game and of every important player in every game. And if you want to sit there and take 15 or 20 minutes and say, I just need an overview of the slate, I just need to know what's going on, the playbooks are where it's at. That's where I start my research process every day. For every single sport is reading our playbook. So highly, highly recommend those. And of course, we've got NFL coming up this week. We've got Up to Lot coming for premium members. That's obviously on Sunday. Sunday, we got the Morning Wood. We got all kinds of stuff going on as show-wise for NFL. And it's worth it because we have a lot of fun. And of course, if you're in the members, you need to be joining the Discord because the Discord is where it at. You get all the up-to-date information for every sport, and especially nowadays with NBA going on. You get that late news, you get that late scratch. Well, our coordinators are in there to tell you when A gets scratched, that means B and C are in a good spot. That means D is in a bad spot. We tell you exactly what it means for your NBA DFS lineups and for every sport. So it is simply invaluable right now. Check us out over at Run Pure Sports. A lot going on, and appreciate you guys watching. Let's talk some defenses really quick because if you're spinning up, I know AP is not going to like this one, because AP is all over the Houston passing attack. So I assume that you're not going to be playing this Chiefs D, AP.
I mean, no, I'm sure I'll have some builds with it, but I think this, so I bitch about defense a lot, more so than a lot of people, I think. Maybe we all do. Hopefully we all do, because I think it's something that should change in the product. But again, it's here. But this is one of my favorite, like if you just sort by like best point per dollar defenses, using some standard projections that I'm seeing, the Denver Broncos, they're going to really pop. They're 2.7K going against Colt McCoy. I think a lot of people go there. However, I think it's an easy fade. I think, look, Broncos were eliminated. They got nothing to play for now. I'm telling you, this defense, good, but they have nothing to play for. I don't think they're going to look as good this week. And I think it's a nice fade if they're going to be popular. Tennessee is projecting, and we like Herbert. So no, I'm not going to be going there. Tampa Bay is popping if you sort by point per dollar. I think Burrow just smashes the Bucs. So, we're not going there. I think there's a lot of fades that we can make. And then a team like the Panthers, 3,300 at home against Carolina. They're second in their division right now. I mean, this is a team that I think everyone probably wrote off after firing Matt Rule. And, they're right in the mix, which the NFC South is an absolute joke, but it's the rules. It is what it is. They're in the mix. They're not eliminated. They're 5-8. They got a matchup later this year with Tampa. They should be very motivated. They have to win this game, and they're not going to do it with offense. They're going to do it with defense. So the Panthers, my favorite defense this week, one of them for sure. And then Philly is another defense I'm looking at. And then, I think the Chiefs are definitely fine as well, Crain.
I am so happy to hear that you like Carolina, because do you know who the heart and soul of their defense is?
Who's that?
None other than Southern Illinois University graduate Jeremy Shinn. So go Panthers defense. And by the way, I love playing defenses against Kenny Pickett. I think Pickett is good. I also think he chucks the hell out of the football. And that's what you want against those against your defense, because that sets up for big plays, big interceptions. That's how you get those touchdowns, interceptions for touchdowns. So Pickett's one of those guys I like to pick on Panthers defense. I'm definitely with you there. Locks, are you with us on the Panthers defense? What defense do you like?
Yeah, definitely some interest in the Panthers there against Pickett, like you said. I mean, he turns the ball over, he chucks all the time. So I love that call at $3,300. I don't think they're going to be very high owned. I won't be spending $4,000 for a defense this week, so I'll definitely be under the field probably on the Chiefs defense. I do like the Eagles against Justin Fields and the Bears. The Broncos, yeah, I like them. I mean, at $2,700, I don't know how you can't play the Broncos against Colt McCoy. I don't know. That's just me. I mean, maybe they're just going to be chalky as hell, but I don't see a reason not to go there.
They're going to be like 25 or 30%.
Yeah, and I'm almost okay doing that. I know they got nothing to play for, but it's freaking Colt McCoy is what I'm thinking. So, I mean, that gives me a little bit of room to spend elsewhere. I don't mind the Buccaneers maybe against Burrow. Got $2,600 as a spend down a little bit, but really it's going to be probably Panthers and Broncos for me. Just first look here. I don't really see any other defenses that are really jumping out to me in a good spot.
All right. We've covered all the positions, guys. AP, give us your final thoughts on this slate.
Yeah, I mean, my early final thoughts are
your early final thoughts. Yeah,
it looks like a fun. I mean, yeah, it looks like a fun slate. It looks like Herbert stacks are going to be. I mean, how are they not like popular?
They have to be chalk.
Yeah, they have to be chalk. And look, the NFL right now, I don't know if you guys agree or not, but it's like I will not make fun of anyone for. I will make fun of people for takes, but in all seriousness, anything can happen. I think we've seen anything and everything happen this season, right?
Like, dude, so, I made fun of all the Russ people last week, and he just went out and balled out.
Yeah, well, I mean, a function of game script and, you know, the opportunities. KC got complacent on defense. If you, my main thing is, if you have a read on something, and if it's different than what I say or what someone else says, trust your read. That's like, it's a perfect week to start doing that type of stuff. So, but man, it's hard not to just absolutely love Herbert stacks this week. I feel very confident in that spot, and I think you guys are going to agree as well.
Yeah, Locks, do you agree with the Herbert? What do you like? What are your kind of first final thoughts? I'm sorry, I don't want your final thoughts. Those are for Sunday when you're playing for $2.5 million in New Orleans.
Yeah. Right now it's looking like some Herbert stacks for sure. I mean, that might be my go-to. I like Henry this week. I like spending up at running back a little bit, and probably getting in that mid value like we talked about. But like AP said, when we're talking and we have a read on something, and I think that's what our team is the best at, is just going with what you guys like, what we think. We see the game going this way, we're going to stick with it. And that's what a lot of people change as they listen to too many things, and I've done it too. Which, you know, you got to stay in your lane. If you see a game going a specific way, take it and run with it. Go with it. You know what I mean? Don't change just because somebody else doesn't think it's going to go that way. And I've had that happen too, where I see a game going some way, I'll listen to 3 or 4 of you guys and I'll change my opinion, which, you know, you got to go with your gut and you got to go with what you think. So take our advice for what it is. And yeah, we try to pick you guys winners. We'll give you guys winners here and there in the Discord, just being there obviously all week, and just go with your gut and win some money.
Yes, sir. Sticking with that gut, man.
Hey.
I'll tell you, most of the downswings in my life have happened because I've started listening to too many voices and not just going with what I think. And you know what? That's how I feel anyways. If I'm going to lose, I want to do it with my own money. If I'm going to win, I want to do it with my own, not my own money, but my own thoughts. If I'm going to win, I want to do it with my own thoughts. So yeah, if you got a gut feeling, don't be afraid to go with it. Go ahead, AP.
So yeah, speaking of gut feelings, it's Nico Collins week. It makes sense. It happens against my Chiefs. Over 100 and a tutty. Well, let's say 7 catches, 113, and a touchdown. At least one.
He's winning me $2.5 million.
You know who's going to
I'm on board. Let's go.
You know who's going to outscore that?
Who's
Mr.
that?
Garrett Wilson. Mr. Garrett Wilson's going to outscore that.
Yeah, I like your Drake London call too. So
yeah, I'm
gonna circle all those boys. Might be that week to get different at wide receiver.
The Crane wide receiver week.
And then spend up at running backs. Let's do it. I like that plan.
All right, guys. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys clicking that like button. Appreciate you guys hanging out on this Wednesday morning. Obviously, keep checking in throughout the week, throughout the day. We got more shows coming up, more content, a lot going on over at runpuresports.com. So check us out over there. For AP, for Locks, for Simon behind the scenes, I'm Eric. We'll catch y'all later. Peace.